Solitude often carries a misunderstood weight, often seen as emptiness or loneliness, but it holds the profound power of transformation and self-discovery. Learn to be happy alone in your life encourages us to embrace solitude not as isolation, but as an opportunity for deep connection with ourselves. It is in these quiet moments that we can uncover the strength, resilience, and joy that have always resided within us. When we learn to be content with our own company, we free ourselves from the need for external validation, and we create space for authentic growth and self-love. Self-reflection and clarity are profound gifts that solitude offers, allowing us to turn inward and reconnect with our true selves. In a world filled with constant noise, distractions, and external influences, solitude creates a sanctuary where we can pause, breathe, and listen to the thoughts and feelings often overshadowed by the demands of daily life. It is in these moments of stillness that we gain the clarity to evaluate our lives, assess our choices, and realign with what genuinely matters to us. Solitude is not merely a retreat from the external world, but an opportunity to deepen our understanding of the internal one. Through self-reflection, we can delve into the core questions that define our existence. Who am I? What do I truly want from life? What path aligns with my values and passions? These questions, while simple in phrasing, carry a depth that requires quiet introspection to explore. Solitude provides the space to confront these questions without the influence of societal expectations or the opinions of others. It allows us to uncover the desires and aspirations that come from within rather than those imposed by external forces. This process is transformative as it enables us to identify what brings us joy, what fulfills us, and what gives our lives meaning. Clarity arises when we examine not only what we want, but also what no longer serves us. Often, we hold on to relationships, habits, or goals out of familiarity or fear of change, even when they no longer contribute positively to our lives. Solitude gives us the courage to confront these realities, to acknowledge what we need to release, to create space for growth. Letting go is rarely easy, but it is essential for moving forward. In solitude, we find the strength to make these decisions, knowing that they are necessary for our well-being and future happiness. Self-reflection also serves as a mirror, offering us a clear view of our actions, motivations, and patterns. It allows us to understand the impact of our choices and behaviors, both on ourselves and on those around us. This awareness is crucial for personal growth, as it provides the insight needed to make changes that align with our values and goals. Through this reflective process, we can identify areas of our lives that need improvement, whether they involve our relationships, careers, or personal habits. Solitude becomes a space for honest self-assessment, where we can confront our strengths and weaknesses without judgment. In solitude, we also develop a deeper connection with our intuition, the inner voice that often gets drowned out by the chaos of the external world. This intuitive wisdom is a powerful guide, offering insights and solutions that logic alone cannot provide. By quieting the noise around us, we can tune into this inner guidance, trusting it to lead us toward decisions that resonate with our true selves. This trust in our intuition strengthens our confidence, empowering us to navigate life's complexities with greater clarity and assurance. The clarity that comes from solitude is not limited to understanding ourselves. It also extends to how we perceive the world. When we step back from the constant input of opinions, news, and social media, we can see things from a broader perspective. This detachment allows us to evaluate situations objectively, free from the biases and emotions that often cloud our judgment. It helps us prioritize what truly matters, distinguishing between what is urgent and what is important. This ability to focus on the essential is a cornerstone of a fulfilling life, as it ensures that our energy is directed toward what brings us the most value and satisfaction. Solitude also fosters a sense of empowerment. When we take the time to reflect and gain clarity, we become more confident in our decisions and actions. We learn to rely on ourselves for validation and guidance, reducing our dependence on others for approval. This self-reliance strengthens our sense of independence, allowing us to approach life with a greater sense of agency and control. It reminds us that we are capable of shaping our destinies, that our choices have the power to create the lives we envision for ourselves. Through self-reflection, we also discover the importance of balance in our lives. Solitude teaches us to recognize when we are overcommitted, overstimulated, or disconnected from our true selves. It encourages us to step back, to take stock of our priorities, and to make adjustments that restore harmony. This balance is not about doing less, but about doing what aligns with our values and brings us closer to our goals. It is about creating a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, one that reflects who we are at our core. Self-reflection and clarity are ongoing practices, not one-time achievements. They require a commitment to solitude, to creating space in our lives for introspection and growth. They remind us that the answers we seek are not found in the external world, but within ourselves. Solitude is the gateway to these answers, a place where we can uncover our deepest truths and align with the person we are meant to be. In embracing solitude, we embark on a journey of self-discovery and empowerment, one that leads to a life of purpose, authenticity, and peace. Resilience and emotional independence are profound outcomes of embracing solitude, offering a transformative path towards self-reliance and inner strength. When we learn to find comfort in being alone, we discover that our happiness and sense of fulfillment are not tied to external circumstances or the validation of others, but are deeply rooted in our relationship with ourselves. Solitude provides the space to develop this independence, fostering a quiet strength that empowers us to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. In solitude, we learn to face our thoughts and emotions head on without the distractions of social interactions or external influences. This process can be uncomfortable at first, as it requires confronting fears, insecurities, and doubts that often remain buried in the busyness of daily life. Yet, it is through this confrontation that resilience begins to grow. By sitting with our discomfort and working through it, we build the capacity to endure and overcome adversity. Each moment of solitude becomes a small act of courage, a step toward mastering our emotions and reclaiming our inner power. This resilience is not about suppressing or ignoring our emotions, but about acknowledging and processing them in a healthy way. When we allow ourselves to fully experience and understand our feelings, we gain clarity and perspective. This emotional awareness is a cornerstone of independence, as it enables us to manage our reactions and make decisions from a place of calm and clarity rather than from impulsivity or fear. The more we practice this self-regulation, the stronger and more grounded we become. The process of cultivating emotional independence also involves breaking free from the need for external validation. In solitude, there are no opinions to seek, no judgments to fear, and no comparisons to make. This freedom allows us to see our worth as intrinsic, not something determined by how others perceive us. It is in this space that we begin to trust ourselves, to recognize our strengths and capabilities, and to affirm our value without relying on others to do it for us. This self-validation is a powerful foundation for resilience, as it makes us less vulnerable to criticism or rejection. As we become more emotionally independent, we also develop a deeper sense of self-reliance. Solitude teaches us to rely on our own resources, whether they are emotional, mental, or practical. We learn to solve problems, make decisions, and support ourselves without depending on others to provide the answers or solutions. This self-reliance is not about isolation, but about building a robust internal support system that we can draw upon in any situation. It is about knowing that we are capable of standing on our own, even when the world around us feels uncertain or challenging. Another key aspect of resilience cultivated through solitude is the ability to adapt. Life is full of unexpected changes and challenges, and emotional independence equips us to navigate these shifts with greater ease. When we are not overly reliant on others for stability or security, we become more flexible and open to new possibilities. Solitude allows us to reflect on our experiences, learn from them, and adjust our approach as needed. This adaptability is a hallmark of resilience, enabling us to grow and thrive even in the face of adversity. Solitude also nurtures a sense of empowerment. By spending time alone, we gain a clearer understanding of our needs, desires, and boundaries. This self-awareness gives us the confidence to advocate for ourselves and to make choices that align with our values and priorities. We become less influenced by external pressures and more attuned to our own intuition. This empowerment is not about rejecting connection with others, but about ensuring that our relationships and interactions come from a place of strength rather than dependency. The quiet strength that arises from emotional independence extends beyond our personal lives. It enhances our ability to contribute meaningfully to our relationships and communities. When we are emotionally stable and resilient, we can offer support to others without losing ourselves in the process. We can engage with empathy and compassion, knowing that our own sense of self remains intact. This balance creates healthier, more fulfilling connections, as it allows us to give and receive without the weight of unmet emotional needs. Resilience and emotional independence also bring a profound sense of peace. When we no longer rely on external circumstances to dictate our happiness, we become more content and centered. This inner peace is not about avoiding challenges, but about approaching them with a sense of calm and confidence. It is about knowing that we have the strength to weather any storm and the independence to find joy and meaning in our own company. The journey toward resilience and emotional independence is a continuous one, marked by moments of growth, reflection, and self-discovery. It is a process of building a life that feels authentic and fulfilling, one where we can stand tall in our own truth and face the world with unwavering strength. Through solitude, we learn that we are enough, just as we are, and that this realization is the key to living a life of purpose and resilience. Creativity and innovation flourish in the sanctuary of solitude, a space where the mind is free to wander, explore, and experiment without the constraints of external interference. In the absence of distractions, solitude allows us to connect with the deepest recesses of our imagination, uncovering ideas that often remain dormant in the hustle and bustle of daily life. This creative space becomes a playground for the mind, a place where possibilities are endless and the boundaries of conventional thinking dissolve. When we embrace solitude, we grant ourselves the gift of uninterrupted focus. This focus is essential for creativity, as it provides the mental clarity needed to delve deeply into ideas, solve complex problems, and explore uncharted territories of thought. In a world filled with noise and constant demands for attention, finding this clarity can be a rare and precious opportunity. Solitude creates the conditions for this focus to thrive, enabling us to engage with our creative pursuits fully and authentically. The silence of solitude also nurtures introspection, a key component of the creative process. By turning inward, we can reflect on our experiences, emotions, and observations, drawing inspiration from the rich tapestry of our inner worlds. This introspection allows us to connect seemingly unrelated ideas, to find patterns and insights that might otherwise go unnoticed. It is in these quiet moments of reflection that creativity often takes root, blossoming into innovative ideas and fresh perspectives. In solitude, we also have the freedom to experiment without fear of judgment or failure. There is no audience to impress, no expectations to meet, and no criticism to fear. This freedom creates a safe space for taking risks, trying new approaches, and pushing the boundaries of our creativity. It encourages us to embrace curiosity, to ask, what if? And to explore possibilities that might initially seem unconventional or even impossible. This willingness to take risks is the seedbed of innovation, where groundbreaking ideas are born. Moreover, solitude provides the mental space needed for incubation, a crucial stage in the creative process. When we step away from external pressures and allow our minds to rest, ideas often emerge and evolve naturally. This process of incubation can lead to moments of insight and inspiration, those sudden flashes of brilliance that seem to come out of nowhere. Solitude fosters the conditions for these moments to occur, giving our minds the freedom to process and synthesize information in ways that lead to creative breakthroughs. The absence of external interference also allows us to cultivate authenticity in our creative work. Without the influence of others' opinions or expectations, we can express ourselves more genuinely, creating work that reflects our unique perspectives and voices. This authenticity not only enriches our creative endeavors, but also deepens our connection to our work, making it more meaningful and fulfilling. Solitude empowers us to create from a place of truth, rather than conforming to external standards or trends. Solitude also enhances our ability to innovate by fostering a sense of independence and self-reliance. When we are alone, we must rely on our own ideas, insights, and problem-solving abilities. This self-reliance strengthens our creative confidence, encouraging us to trust our instincts and take ownership of our work. It is through this confidence that we become more willing to challenge the status quo, to question assumptions, and to envision new possibilities. This spirit of innovation is essential for progress, whether in art, science, business, or any other field of human endeavor. The connection between solitude and creativity is further evidenced by the experiences of many great thinkers, artists, and innovators throughout history. From writers who seek solace in nature to inventors who retreat to their workshops, solitude has long been recognized as a catalyst for creative achievement. These individuals understand that the quiet of solitude is not an emptiness, but a fertile ground for the imagination to flourish. Their experiences remind us that the most profound ideas often arise in moments of stillness and introspection. Solitude allows us to recharge and replenish our creative energy. The demands of constant interaction and external stimulation can be draining, leaving little room for the deep thinking and exploration required for true creativity. By stepping away from the noise and reconnecting with ourselves, we can restore our mental and emotional resources, creating a wellspring of energy and inspiration to draw from. This renewal is essential for sustaining long-term creativity and innovation, enabling us to continue producing work that is fresh, meaningful, and impactful. In embracing solitude as a source of creativity and innovation, we open ourselves to a world of endless possibilities. It is within this quiet space that we find the freedom to imagine, the courage to experiment, and the clarity to bring our ideas to life. Solitude is not a retreat from the world, but a journey inward, where the seeds of creativity are planted and nurtured. Through solitude, we discover that the greatest innovations often begin not in the noise of the crowd, but in the silence of the self. Self-love and acceptance are foundational to living a life of authenticity and fulfillment. Yet they are often overlooked in the pursuit of external validation and societal approval. Emphasizing self-compassion requires cultivating a deep understanding of our intrinsic worth, one that is not tied to accomplishments, appearances, or the opinions of others. It begins with the simple yet transformative act of treating ourselves with kindness, extending the same grace and understanding to ourselves that we so willingly offer to others. This practice creates a nurturing environment where we can grow, heal, and embrace the fullness of who we are. Self-love is not an indulgence or a luxury. It is a necessity for emotional well-being. At its core, self-love is about recognizing that we are enough, just as we are, without needing to prove our value through constant achievement or perfection. It is about quieting the inner critic that tells us we are unworthy or inadequate and replacing it with a voice of encouragement and affirmation. This shift in perspective allows us to see ourselves as whole and complete, deserving of love and respect simply because we exist. It is a profound act of self-empowerment, that transforms the way we navigate the world. Acceptance is an equally vital component of this journey. To accept ourselves means to embrace every part of who we are, including our flaws, mistakes, and vulnerabilities. It requires a deep level of honesty and courage, as it involves acknowledging the parts of ourselves that we may wish to hide or change. However, true acceptance is not about settling for less or resigning ourselves to stagnation. It is about loving ourselves through the process of growth and understanding that imperfection is a natural and beautiful part of being human. This acceptance frees us from the burden of comparison and the need to conform to unrealistic standards, allowing us to live authentically and unapologetically. Self-compassion plays a central role in fostering self-love and acceptance. It is the practice of being gentle and forgiving with ourselves, especially in moments of struggle or failure. Rather than berating ourselves for our shortcomings, self-compassion invites us to respond with understanding and empathy, recognizing that challenges and mistakes are universal experiences. This perspective helps us to let go of guilt and shame, replacing them with a sense of peace and self-assurance. In extending compassion to ourselves, we build a strong foundation of resilience and emotional stability, which allows us to face life's ups and downs with greater confidence and grace. As we cultivate self-love, we begin to set healthier boundaries in our lives. Recognizing our worth empowers us to say no to situations, relationships, or behaviors that do not honor our value. These boundaries are not about isolation, but about self-respect and self-care. They enable us to protect our energy and focus on what truly matters, creating a life that is aligned with our values and priorities. By setting these boundaries, we also model for others how we expect to be treated, fostering more respectful and meaningful connections. Self-acceptance also encourages us to celebrate our uniqueness. Each of us has qualities, talents, and perspectives that make us different, and it is in these differences that our true beauty lies. When we embrace our individuality, we stop trying to fit into molds or meet expectations that do not reflect who we truly are. This liberation allows us to express ourselves more authentically and confidently, enriching our lives and the lives of those around us. It is a reminder that our diversity is not a weakness, but a strength that adds depth and richness to the human experience. Practicing self-love and acceptance also involves recognizing and challenging the societal messages that undermine our self-worth. We are often bombarded with images and narratives that suggest we are not enough unless we look a certain way, achieve specific milestones, or conform to particular ideals. These messages can be deeply ingrained and damaging, but through self-awareness and self-compassion, we can begin to dismantle them. By rejecting these external pressures, we reclaim our power and redefine success and happiness on our own terms. As we embrace self-love and acceptance, we develop a deeper sense of gratitude for ourselves and our journeys. We begin to appreciate the lessons learned from our struggles, the strength gained from our challenges, and the growth achieved through our experiences. This gratitude fosters a sense of peace and contentment as we recognize that every step of our journey has shaped us into the individuals we are today. It reminds us that we are worthy, not despite our imperfections, but because of them, as they are an integral part of our story. Self-love and acceptance are lifelong practices, not one-time achievements. They require patience, commitment, and a willingness to continually show up for ourselves, even on the days when it feels difficult. They are about creating a relationship with ourselves that is built on trust, respect, and unconditional support. This relationship becomes the foundation for all other relationships in our lives, influencing how we connect with others and how we allow ourselves to be treated. When we love and accept ourselves fully, we set a standard for how we expect to be treated, attracting healthier and more fulfilling connections. Living with self-love and acceptance transforms the way we experience the world. It allows us to move through life with greater confidence, resilience, and joy, unburdened by the need for external validation. It empowers us to take risks, pursue our passions, and embrace the unknown, knowing that we have our own unwavering support. Most importantly, it reminds us that we are enough just as we are, and that this truth is the foundation of a life well lived. Through self-love and acceptance, we find the courage to be ourselves, to follow our hearts, and to create a life that is true to our deepest values and desires. Boundary setting and independence are vital aspects of personal growth, fostering a life that respects individuality, values time, and nurtures self-respect. Solitude provides the ideal environment to explore and cultivate these principles. In the quiet moments of solitude, we begin to recognize the significance of our time and energy, understanding that these are finite resources deserving of protection. This awareness is the foundation for setting healthy boundaries, a practice that prioritizes our well-being and aligns our actions with our values. Understanding the value of personal time is one of the first lessons solitude teaches us. The modern world is filled with distractions, obligations, and external demands that constantly vie for our attention. In solitude, we can step back and assess where our time is going, often realizing how much of it is consumed by tasks or relationships that drain us rather than enrich us. This realization empowers us to reclaim our time, directing it toward activities and people that support our growth and happiness. By valuing our time, we create space for intentional living, ensuring that each moment contributes to a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling. Healthy boundaries are not walls that separate us from others, but bridges that create balance in our relationships. They allow us to engage with others from a place of mutual respect rather than obligation or guilt. Solitude helps us identify where our boundaries lie by offering clarity and perspective. It allows us to evaluate our interactions, recognizing when we feel overburdened or when our needs are being overlooked. With this understanding, we can communicate our boundaries clearly and assertively, fostering relationships that honor both our well-being and the well-being of those around us. Independence is a natural outcome of setting and maintaining boundaries. When we embrace independence, we learn to rely on ourselves for emotional support, decision-making, and validation. This self-reliance strengthens our ability to enforce boundaries, as we are less concerned about seeking approval or fearing rejection. Independence gives us the confidence to say no when necessary, to prioritize our needs without apology, and to make choices that align with our values. It liberates us from the pressures of conformity, allowing us to live authentically and unapologetically. The connection between solitude and boundary setting is deeply intertwined with self-respect. When we set boundaries, we affirm our worth and communicate to ourselves and others that our time, energy, and needs are important. This act of self-respect creates a ripple effect, influencing how others perceive and treat us. Relationships that respect our boundaries become stronger and more meaningful, while those that do not often fade away, making room for connections that align with our values. Solitude reinforces this process by giving us the space to reflect on our priorities and to make adjustments that support our well-being. Solitude also teaches us the importance of preserving our energy. Without clear boundaries, it is easy to become overwhelmed by the demands of others or by the expectations we place on ourselves. This constant drain can lead to burnout, resentment, and a sense of disconnection from our true selves. By setting boundaries, we create a protective buffer that allows us to recharge and maintain balance. This preservation of energy is not selfish, but essential for maintaining a healthy and fulfilling life. It enables us to show up fully in our relationships and endeavors, offering the best of ourselves without depleting our reserves. The practice of boundary setting extends beyond personal interactions to encompass how we engage with the world around us. It involves being mindful of the commitments we take on, the environments we inhabit, and the activities we choose to pursue. Solitude gives us the clarity to evaluate these aspects of our lives, helping us identify what aligns with our goals and values and what does not. This discernment allows us to make choices that reflect our priorities, ensuring that our time and energy are spent in ways that bring joy and purpose. As we develop independence, we also cultivate a stronger sense of self-awareness. This awareness helps us recognize when we are compromising our needs for the sake of others, or when we are allowing external pressures to dictate our choices. Independence gives us the strength to stand firm in our decisions, even when they go against the expectations of others. It reminds us that our worth is not determined by how much we do for others or how well we conform, but by our ability to live authentically and true to ourselves. This self-awareness is a powerful tool for maintaining boundaries and navigating the complexities of life with confidence. Boundary setting also fosters a sense of empowerment. When we take control of our time and energy, we feel more in charge of our lives. This empowerment allows us to approach challenges with a sense of agency, knowing that we have the tools and resilience to handle whatever comes our way. It reminds us that we are not passive participants in our lives, but active creators of our experiences. Solitude strengthens this empowerment by giving us the space to reflect, recharge, and realign with our goals and values. Boundary setting and independence are acts of self-love and self-care. They require us to prioritize our well-being, to honor our needs, and to take responsibility for our lives. Solitude provides the foundation for these practices, offering the clarity, confidence, and courage needed to embrace them fully. Through solitude, we learn to value ourselves and our time, to build relationships that respect and support us, and to create a life that feels authentic and fulfilling. Boundary setting and independence are not about separating ourselves from others, but about creating a balanced and harmonious way of living that honors who we are and what we stand for. In the final reflection, the story underscores the profound truth that independence and self-awareness are the cornerstones of a life lived fully and authentically. These qualities are not simply about withdrawing from the world, but about engaging with it from a place of strength and understanding. They are cultivated through the quiet power of solitude, which provides the space to reflect, realign, and grow. Solitude is not a void to be feared, but a sanctuary where clarity emerges, where the distractions of the external world fade, and where the essence of our true selves can flourish. Independence allows us to navigate life with confidence and resilience, unshackled from the need for constant validation or approval. It empowers us to make decisions that align with our values, to embrace challenges with courage, and to carve a path that feels true to who we are. This independence does not mean isolation. Rather, it fosters a deeper connection to others because it originates from a place of wholeness. When we no longer depend on others to define our worth, our relationships become more authentic and enriching, based on mutual respect and shared growth. Self-awareness, the companion to independence, is the key to understanding our desires, values, and potential. It is through this awareness that we begin to make choices with intention and purpose, aligning our actions with our deepest truths. Solitude nurtures this awareness, offering the opportunity to tune into our inner voice without interference. In this state of mindfulness, we learn to accept ourselves fully, embracing both our strengths and imperfections. This acceptance frees us from the relentless pursuit of perfection, replacing it with a sense of peace and contentment. The journey of embracing solitude teaches us that happiness is not something to be found externally, but something that resides within. True fulfillment arises when we cultivate inner peace, a state of being that is not dependent on circumstances or achievements, but on our relationship with ourselves. Solitude allows us to build this relationship, to discover the joy of our own company, and to realize that we are enough just as we are. This self-sufficiency becomes the foundation for a life of freedom and authenticity, where our happiness is no longer contingent on external factors, but firmly rooted in our inner world. As the story concludes, it leaves us with the powerful reminder that independence and self-awareness are not destinations, but ongoing practices. They require patience, courage, and a willingness to embrace the unknown. Through solitude, we gain the tools to nurture these qualities, creating a life that is both meaningful and fulfilling. The story inspires us to honor the quiet strength within, to embrace the transformative power of solitude, and to live with authenticity, purpose, and peace. In doing so, we discover that the most profound happiness